This video is going to be some back extensions and upper body strengthening and overall a general full body yoga flow. And before we get going, just a reminder to practice with courage, compassion, and competence in equal measure. So I'm going to stay safe and get strong. We're going to do a seated spinal warm-up this morning. So sitting up tall. Maybe you even want to sit on a block if your hips are tight, or a blanket. I think I'll sit on a blanket this morning. Just tuck that under my hips. You want to have a yoga strap handy, some light weights, maybe a block. So once you're ready, close your eyes. Feel your spine really long and your hips dropping down so your body is nice and relaxed. Jaw soft, tongue off the roof of the mouth. And inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose several times. Allowing the body and the mind to settle together. As you get settled, I invite you to make both an intention. So perhaps choosing what you think is the best for you to focus on this morning. Is it courage? Do you need a little push? Is it compassion? Maybe going gently. And always choosing competence. Another way of saying you're your own best teacher. But then also a dedication. So an intention and a dedication, perhaps choosing to make this time like a moving prayer for someone or a group of people in your life. And then return to your breath. And gently float your eyes open. So we're going to start with an easy twist this morning. So inhale, get really, really tall. And as you exhale, just turning to one side, keeping the shoulders level and the spine long. Mostly feeling the movement from above the waist. So really leaving the low back out of it. On an exhale, release. On your inhale, get really tall again. And twist to the other side. Again, just from above the waist. And come on back to center. On your next exhale, gently drop your chin toward your chest. Maybe feeling those muscles up and down either side of the spine, all the way up to the base of the neck. One more breath here. And gently inhaling, center your head. And just take your head from side to side a couple times, feeling the range of motion in the neck. Come back to center, bring your shoulders up by your ears. Roll them back and drop them down. And then rest one hand out gently a little bit away from your body to give yourself some more space. Inhale, get really, really tall, and then exhale. Maybe even thinking about making this about the upper body, just from above the waist so that you're really keeping your hips rooted. So you feel that from above the waist up into your ribs. Just gaze down at your thumb. Nice. On an inhale, come on back up to center. Exhale, take a breath. And then inhale, we'll go to the other side. So getting very long first, and then making it about the upper body. Continuing to breathe deeply. And inhaling, come on back up. Do some easy cat-cow, so inhaling, lift your chest. And exhaling, pull your belly in, gently hollow out. Inhaling, lift your chest. And exhaling, gently hollow out. And again, inhaling, lift. And exhale, round. One more time, inhaling, lift. And exhaling, round. Maybe staying here. This feels okay. Just shifting shoulder back, other shoulder back, just noticing how that feels in your spine. Good. And then inhale, come on back up to neutral. We're going to come onto our back. And wake up the core. So take a couple breaths, tuck your shoulder blades together. Just feeling the support underneath you. On an inhale, take your arms overhead. And exhale, bring them back down by your hips. And inhaling, pull your low belly and bring your knees to your chest. And exhale, plant your feet down. We're going to add that together. So inhaling, arms overhead. Exhaling, knee into the chest. Inhaling, take your heels and your fingertips to the ceiling like you're holding a cardboard box. And exhale, knees back into your chest. On your inhale, you take your arms overhead and plant your feet. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Exhaling, knees into the chest. Inhaling, heels to the ceiling. Exhaling, knees back in. Inhale, plant the feet and take the arms overhead. One more time, exhaling, knees into the chest. Inhaling, heels to the ceiling. Exhaling, knees back in. And inhaling, arms overhead. So leave your arms where they are and just gently windshield wiper your knees from side to side, maybe starting to feel the quadriceps stretch. Super slowly and intentionally. Inhaling through center. Exhaling. One more time, inhale through center. And exhale. And then come on back up. Put your heels back in line with your hips. Bring your hands down by your side. So walk your heels in so that maybe your middle fingers touch your heels with your hands down by your side. We're going to just do 3 very small bridge poses. So inhaling, just lift your hips a few inches. And exhale, release. Inhale, lift your hips a few inches. And exhale, release. And again, feel your feet rooted. Lift your hips. And exhaling, release. Then draw your knees into your chest again. We're going to roll to one side so that we can come on up to all fours and continue to strengthen the core. So on an inhale, take your left leg out behind you. Reach that heel out. Get really, really long. And then take your right thumb to the ceiling. Just gaze down right below your nose. And exhaling, gently release. We'll go right to the other side. So inhale, heel out. And then left thumb to the ceiling. Toes pointing down, belly pulled in. And exhaling, gently release and rock your hips from side to side. So we're going to curl our toes under and come right to downward facing dog. Go ahead and walk your dog, bending one knee and then the other. Just let the head hang between the upper arms.
and then come to stillness. So really think about taking the crease out of the shoulder joint. So you're one long line from your hips down to your fingertips. Gently squeeze the upper arms toward the ears. Drop the heels toward the mat, even if you need to keep your knees a little bit bent. So just exploring the backside of the legs. Where in the hamstring you feel the stretch, keeping it out of the low back. And then soften your knees and walk your feet to meet your hands. Drop your hips, rest your hands on your thighs, reach the crown of the head out long. We're going to stay here for just a breath, so reach your fingertips behind you. Feeling the tailbone curling down toward your heels so you're getting length in the sacrum. And then on an inhale, coming up with a straight spine. Take your fingertips up till they meet over your head, and exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. And right away, we're going to do a tree pose. So deciding where you want to put your foot and shifting your weight into your left leg. So maybe this morning it's on the calf, maybe it's up above the knee. And then on an inhale, getting even more expansive, long and strong. Fingertips up to the sky. One more breath. And exhaling, releasing right back to Tadasana. Take a breath in Tadasana, feeling the big toe rooted, the pinky toe rooted, both sides of the heel. And then shift your weight into your right leg. And we'll take that tree pose. And getting really tall. Energy out through the fingertips. Again, jaw soft. One more breath. And exhaling, release. Good. So just gently do a little empty coat sleeves from the upper body. Nice. And we're going to flow. Come back to the top of your mat. Inhaling, take your arms up. Exhaling, soften the knees, coming to half forward fold. Your next inhale, you're going to extend your heels up, your heels down and your hips up, lengthening the spine, and then exhaling, softening the knees again so you can bring the left leg back in high lunge. So feel the length here. And then you're going to bring the right leg back to meet it, so float the left knee down, bring the knees together, pull the low belly in, and slowly coming to the mat, hips last. So we're gently going to work a modified up dog. So having your hands a little bit maybe forward, using your legs, pushing your feet into the mat. So this is where we use our arms, keeping the knees and the hips on the mat, working on straightening your arms. Just inhale up and exhale down. And inhaling up and exhaling down. Keep your shoulders level, inhaling up and exhaling down. Re-engage your legs, push your feet into the mat. This next one we're going to stay and hold for 2 breaths. Inhaling up. Feel like your spine's getting longer. One more deep inhale. And exhaling, gently release. And then lifting your hips first. We're coming onto your elbows. I'm going to do that over again. Coming onto your elbows. Again, re-engaging your legs, pushing your feet into the mat. And then walking yourself back, coming up to all fours. And curling your toes under, lifting your hips up and back for down dog. So maybe already your down dog's starting to feel a little bit different as the body opens up. Exhaling, bend the knees, soften, walk your feet forward. Your inhale lengthens to that half forward fold. Exhaling, soften the knees, coming up with a straight spine. Inhaling, fingertips up till they meet overhead. And exhaling your hands to your heart. We're going to do some upper body work. All right, so grabbing hold of your weights. So we're going to, first thing you do is work the big muscles of the back, right? So you're going to take your weights up, shoulder height, and then face your palms forward. And on exhale, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together, bringing the weights toward your elbows. And inhale, extend. Exhaling, squeezing the muscles of the back. And inhaling, extend. 2 more times. Exhaling, squeeze the muscles of the back. Inhaling, extend. And again, exhaling in. And extend. Turn your palms facing down. Just 10 little arm circles. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Back on the long, neck long. 3, 2, 1. And slowly lower them down. And then we're going to take both weights in one hand. Keep your knees soft. Your spine long. We're going to do 8 bicep curls, nice and slow. Really focusing on that bicep muscle. It's a great time to come back to that dedication. Sending out some positive energy. And we've got 2 more on this side. And we'll switch to the other side. And also returning to your intention, right? So focusing on courage or compassion, maybe a little both. And use your breath. And 4 more. Remembering that this is about taking care of yourself so that you can be your best for others. 2 more. And release. Good. So separate the weights and just turn your palms forward and back a couple of times. Good. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see we're going to do some tricep extensions. So we're slightly tilted forward. Keep that tailbone dropping toward the waist. The elbows are up and back as far as you can, and it's just moving the lower arm, right? So we'll do 10. 10, 9, 8. Try not to dip your head. 6, 5. Really squeezing at the end of the motion. 3, 2, and 1. And gazing straight forward, turn your palms facing up, 10 pulses. 10, 9, 8, tailbone long. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And gently release. Pick those shoulders up and back. I'm going to stay here so you can see me. You can turn to the front. So it's like we're holding a beach ball, right? And the elbows stay the highest. So we're turning the palms facing down as we lift the elbows up. 10 of these. 8, 7. I'll turn forward so you can see what it looks like from the front. 6, just to shoulder height. 5, 4, little pause at the top. 3, my knees are still soft. 2, and 1. We're going to do shoulder circles in the other direction, so if you went forward last time, go backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And exhale, gently release. And we'll let those weights go. So eventually you might want to work up to heavier weights, 5 pounds or 8 pounds. So take a breath. We're going to come back to the top of the mat and flow some more. So inhaling, arms up to the sky. Exhaling, softening the knees, coming to flat back. Inhale, lengthen out through the spine. Exhaling, bend the knees. This time you're going to take the right leg back in high lunge. And just feel that extension. And then float the knees down. Bring them together. Squeeze the elbows in. So you're mostly working your triceps in this yoga push-up, not so much the pectorals. And now we're going to work on going a little more deeper using cobra. So this one we're not going to use our arms really at all. So push your feet into the mat. Just let your fingertips hover on the mat. And same as we did before, we're going to do 3 with the breath and then 1 held. Feet stay on the mat. So inhaling, soften the belly, use your back muscles, and exhale, release. Pretty small motion. Keep the back of the neck long. Inhaling, use the back muscles, and exhale, release. So 1 more, inhale. So want to make more space in the vertebra, right? We're going to take 2 breaths here. Remember, the belly's soft. 1 more deep inhale. And exhaling, gently release. So just to think about what it would feel like to go to the next level, maybe having your hands down by your side, pushing into the palms. So if I push my fingertips towards my heels, I feel like I get more length. So just something to work toward. And then bring your elbows under your shoulders. Once again, lifting into that Sphinx pose. Feeling the expansiveness, especially in the space between your pelvis and your ribs. Pull your hips up and back and walk yourself back so that you can come to all fours. And once again, rocking the hips from side to side. And then we're going to curl our toes under and come right back to down dog. Squeeze your elbows in. Inhaling, look at your thumbs. Exhaling, bend your knees and walk your feet in to meet your hands. Knees are soft, and we inhale, lengthen the back of the legs. Exhaling, soften the knees. Coming up with a straight spine, arms to the sky. And exhaling, hands to your heart. So we're going to take big wide straddle. We're going to do warrior 2 and then warrior 1. So turn your left toes out. We're going to do that same thing. So what we want to try to do is, not cheat the hips. Keep the hips facing the long edge of the mat. Exhaling, take the knee right over the ankle, and inhaling, straighten. Do that 2 more times. Toes spread really wide. 1 more time. And then softening into warrior 2. Take your arms out to the side. Just take 3 breaths here. Feeling the legs really strong. Maybe you take your feet a little bit wider. Good. Inhaling. Turn those toes in. Turn the other toes out. Same thing. Just gently exhaling. Feeling the opening in the hips. Nice heel to arch alignment. 3 times, softening and extending. And then settling in. Feel like somebody's pulling on your wrists. turn those toes in. You're just going to bring your heels in a little bit so we can work the goddess pose, right? And just work on our inner thigh strength, right? So even here, you can think about isometrically drawing your heels toward one another, toward your midline, and you can literally feel those muscles tightening, right? The inner thigh. So let's do that a couple times. So on an exhale, pulling the inner thighs toward one another, pulling the whole pelvic floor up, and inhaling, just gently relax. And exhale, drawing in. Inhale, relax. One more. Exhale, draw in, pulling those heels in, and then inhaling, relax, and come to the goddess pose with the knees bent, right? Take your arms out to the side, palms facing up, and then fold them toward your ears. And we're going to inhale and lift our heels and just hold for 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And exhale, gently release and inhale. Turn your toes in. Bring your heels closer. Toes in. Heels closer. Toes in. So that's a great way, safe way to come get your feet back under your hips without putting any undue pressure on your sacroiliac joint. Okay, we're going to set up for Warrior 1. I might have a block handy. Our left leg's going to go back first. So inhaling, get long. Exhaling, softening the knees. Inhaling, lengthen the backs of the legs. And then exhaling, grabbing hold of that block. Take the left leg back, maybe walking it out to the edge of the mat just a little bit, and then turn the heel down and in at a 45-degree angle. So first, we're going to make our spine really long, kind of like we did in that chair pose, right? And then bring the shoulders over the hips. So the goal is to keep the hips facing the front edge of the mat like headlights on a car. So remember, if you can go a little deeper, that's great. Remember, you've always got the safety valve bringing the hip up and bending the knee. But we want to try and keep this spine really, really long, the sacrum long, without having to do that. Right? And then take your arms up overhead. Pull that left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. 3 breaths. Come back to that intention that you set. And then pull your low belly in, lengthening the spine out so you're one long line from your back heel to your crown of your head. And then reach for the block. Scoot that back leg to meet the front. Inhaling. Come on up to standing. And exhale your hand to your heart. From here, we're just going to take a quad stretch on that front leg that you were just working. So lifting the knee and running the hand down the shin. Oh dear. Nothing to look at on this wall. I've got to put something on that wall. You'll get to see me do that over and over again. So just a simple quad stretch. Drop the tailbone. Knees together. And exhaling, release. And we'll go to the other side. So I'm going to move my block. Might even turn around. So you'll see the open side. So inhaling, arms to the sky. Exhaling, soften. Folding forward, inhaling, lengthening the back of the legs, and exhaling, taking the right leg back, right? So high lunge, but maybe not as deep as a Warrior 2. Maybe you want to take your foot toward the side of the mat to give yourself more space, and then turning that heel down and in. Get long first, so reaching the fingertips away, behind you, and then inhaling. So remember, you have that safety net. If this is the side that you feel tight or have some concerns, you could lift the heel so that the heel and the hip are in line. So just kind of playing around with that. So getting
where you can stay for 3 deep breaths. Left hip back, right shoulder forward. On your exhale, you're going to release your hands. And again, coming forward, nice long spine. Lifting that back heel, bring the back leg to meet the front. Inhaling, come on up to standing. And exhale your hands to your heart. We'll stretch that other quad. So lifting the knee, using your focal point, your drishti. Just an easy quad stretch. And exhaling, gently release. Okay, so we're going to come down to the mat. So inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, softening into that half forward fold. Inhaling, lengthening the back of the legs again. Exhaling, softening the knees, bring the right leg back in high lunge. Flip the knee down. Bring the left one back to meet it. We're going to take our knees a little bit wider and just take one soft child's pose. Feeling the sides of the back get really, really long. Nice and slowly, maybe your head eventually comes to the mat. Then inhaling, come on up to all fours and just shift your hips to one side so that you can roll onto your back. So we're going to work the bridge pose like we did in the beginning. Middle fingers touching the heels. 3 times we will inhale, just lifting and lowering with the breath. So pushing our upper arms into the mat, inhaling, lift. Exhaling, release. And again, checking in with your feet, make sure the big toes are rooted, inhaling, lift. And exhaling, release. And again, inhaling, lift. And exhaling, release. So this time we're going to work it a little deeper. So inhaling, lift your hips. Then think about isometrically pushing your feet away from you. So kind of the opposite of what we did when we were in that goddess pose. Now we're pushing our heels away. Maybe you can interlace your hands underneath you. So you want to get your chest a little higher by thinking of bringing your sternum over your throat. So maybe you're tucking your shoulder blades together. Keep pushing your feet away. And in the upper back, can you get a little more extension? 2 more deep breaths. And then releasing the hands and gently dropping your hips. Nice. Take a breath here, just reset. Good. And then you're going to gently draw your knees into your chest and rock from side to side a little bit. So we're going to finish with a hamstring stretch. Kind of the Doug Keller way, right? So we want to get into the lower leg, not the low back. So you're going to plant your left foot on the mat. Hold your right thigh, squeezing your right thigh toward your shoulder, and it's going to stay there. So nothing moves but the lower leg. On an exhale, work on straightening the back of the leg. Drawing the toes toward the knee. You're going to feel it mostly below the knee, right? Keep the back of the neck long. We're going to do that a couple times. So exhaling, extend. Inhaling, release. Exhaling, extend. Got to use your quadricep muscle to release the hamstring. One more time, so we're going to stay here. Really working on squeezing the quadricep muscle onto the bone. Reaching the heel out. Might even feel a little shaking.
Maybe you want to stretch that bottom leg out. See how that feels, reaching that thigh toward the ground. And gently release. Bring both knees back up. Plant that right foot. Just notice the difference from one leg and the other. And then we'll go to the other side. So draw the left thigh in, squeeze it toward the shoulder, and then we're just going to leave it there and work the lower leg. So exhaling, extend. Inhaling, release. Exhaling, extend. Inhaling, release. One more time. Exhaling, extend. Inhaling, release. Exhaling, extend, and now we're going to keep it there, right? So squeeze that thigh muscle, and then maybe lengthen the bottom leg. Just notice the difference from one side to the other. Couple of breaths. And exhaling, softening both knees, bringing them back into the chest. Finally, we're going to finish with eagle pose on our back. So cross the left knee over the right and see if you can interlace the shins. So it's easier to interlace the shins when you're on your back, right? So feeling that inward rotation in the hips, then bring the left arm under the right so the left arm and leg are close to each other and double wrap. So we're squeezing all the joints toward the midline. One more. Squeeze really hard. Pushing the palms together. Elbows, knees, ankles. And then gently release. Plant those feet wide. Take the arms out and take a breath. Then on your inhale, bring your knees into your chest again. We'll go to the other side. So crossing the right knee over the left. You can double wrap the shins. See how that feels. Take the arms out to the side. Now right elbow under left. Double wrap the arms. So keep the knees close to the chest. As close as you can. Remember, there shouldn't be any pain anywhere. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then gently release again, taking the feet planted wide and the arms out to the side, and take a couple breaths. Once again, come back to that dedication that you set. Again, sending out some positive energy, all that positive energy you created. We'll get ready to settle into Shavasana. So the feet come a little bit closer together. Maybe the knees flop inward. Maybe you want to see what it would feel like to roll, come up to one side so that you can roll a blanket. Put it under your knees. So just something to think about, maybe trying. You don't have to. Seeing how that feels on the low back. So letting the legs go, even if they're still bent. The knees can flop together. And just breathe. No more work.
So take 3 more deep breaths. So if you had your legs lengthened out on the mat, go ahead and bend them again. And just like we began, take your arms overhead. Notice if your body feels any different. On your exhale, you're going to slowly and gently draw your knees into your chest, maybe rocking from side to side again. And then rolling to one side so you can safely push yourself up to seated. Perhaps keeping your eyes closed. Feel the spine nice and long. For a moment, resting your hands on your thighs, palms facing down, acknowledging your practice, committing to taking your practice off the mat, approaching the rest of your day with courage and compassion and competence. On your next inhale, bringing your hands to your heart center. Exhaling, bowing your head to your heart, always giving yourself that mental pat on the back for showing up. The spirit in me honors the spirit in you. Namaste. It's a good practice. Keep at it.